So how do we kind of get away from that stigma to where coaches need to understand that individualized development in the summer can be beneficial?
Yeah, they have to, be realistic and true to their player. And as an athlete, you got to be true to yourself. You could go play 50 more games in the summer, but ultimately that may not benefit you. Where you're losing out on, a good 2 months of getting better individually with yourself in the weight room, on your swing as a pitcher. Obviously, we can dive into that, but it's ultimately making that big boy decision of, is this truly going to make me better for either the next year for college or for the draft? It just comes down to the individual. It's what's going to make you better for the next year, what it comes down to.
I'll build off Kurt. I feel like knowing exactly what your long-term goals are. There is a percentage of the college population that it's just about the experience. So going and playing summer ball because you have no aspiration of playing beyond college, totally fine. If you just want to have that summer catch kind of feel and go off and play as many games as you possibly can, there's a limited amount of time to play baseball. So, not poo-pooing that kid, right? Yeah. But if your goal, like Erik was saying, like you didn't play very much and your goal is to make sure that you play in the next season, well, okay, what's going to get me to that? If your goal is to get drafted, okay, what's going to get me to that? If your goal is to, whatever that may be, start with your goal long-term and then work backwards. Okay, what are short-term goals that are going to help me get there? If you're a hitter and you didn't get a bunch of ABs and you're just really struggling with the game and speed and game intensity, then you probably should go figure out a way to get more game ABs at that level. But I think one of the traps, and we'll probably get to this at some point, is you need to do your due diligence on what league you're going to, what team you're playing for. There are certain ones you likely probably shouldn't say no to.
True.
You get an invitation to the Cape Cod League, you probably should go play in that league. But if you get that invitation in the last week of the summer, you know that they're just trying to find guys to fill a spot because they just got to finalize their roster and figure out a way to get next summer. So I think starting with that goal and then working backwards is definitely the best place to start.
Absolutely. And so to that point, KPI has dedicated sessions for college athletes in the summer that can provide them big tools through the training. It also gets them in a starting lineup and prepare them for that next side of professional baseball. Talk about how the systems that we've created to help these kids during that time have kind of, like to your point, coaches are starting to realize that this may be a better option.
Yeah, I mean, the last couple summers we've had, anywhere from 30 to 40 college guys in here, and we expect, upwards of 60 this summer. And it's been a really great thing. And basically we're able to throw our full, arsenal at them because we give them some dedicated slots. Usually they're earlier in the day before the younger guys get in here. And we're really able to kind of use some of our higher level tools like motion capture and some more advanced stuff with the force plates and arm care systems to really give them an experience and some individualized training. It's really hard for their colleges to get. And again, this isn't poo-pooing the college system, but just most college strength coaches, especially baseball strength coaches, don't necessarily have a baseball background. All right, they're not super fluent in all the tech around baseball players, and they probably have other sports just because baseball, from a revenue point of view, usually can't support just a sole strength coach. So they're able to get that here. Plus, they get that different kind of skill instruction. The way we instruct skill is vastly different than most college coaches would do it. Again, because it's the team environment, we're a little bit more individualized in here. So they really, really get the opportunity to do something different. And like I said, they only have that small window in time over the course of a calendar year to do it.
Yeah. I think the one thing I would add to that is the physical development usually is not the focus. You could attest to this, Kurt, especially with hitters. Like, if you don't check the boxes from the physical side, you don't have the skills and tools to play at the college level, then you wouldn't be there. So us trying to crush you in the weight room or put on mass or all the things that are typical to the average strength coach, increase your power, all those things. Like, this is a skill dominant sport. So if we're not improving our skill, then from a hitting standpoint, or a pitching standpoint, then it doesn't really matter. So I think. Especially you can speak to the college hitters over the summer. It is a different beast. It's not, we need to put on 15 pounds of mass this summer. It's like, no, I need my swing to play in games. I need to be able to crush my next fall so that I'm prepared for the spring and showing that coach that I deserve to be in the lineup.
Yeah, no, and just going off that, with college and pro guys, right? You rarely get a guy at that level that's coming into a facility like ours that doesn't have an outline of what they want to do. So pretty much they lay it out, and then our systems, because how we built it, we can maneuver in whatever direction they want to go. If a guy needs more bat speed, boom, we have that. If a guy said, I didn't get the ball enough in the air, boom, we have that. Or if I got to double down on my approach on what pitches I can groove, if I have a middle in hitter, if I actually hit the ball better middle away. So we can fine-tune the approach and mentality, and then with all of our systems with bat speed, attacking, early connection stuff, it's kind of seamless, with the older guys, because they have a plan, they know what they want to do, and we have all these systems built that, all right, here's your plan, let's get after it together. And it's a two-way street. These guys go home and they study. And that's the cool part about the older guys, right? Is they know they have a job, they have some long-term goals of getting to the show. So they know that time's running out and they need to put in work. So it is seamless in a way, but we can some fine-tune with all the tech we have in here too. With the motion capture, we can dive into some different things. So for all the college guys, the sessions are there in the summer. It's just coming down to what you guys really want for yourself as an athlete.
I think the one part that I'll speak to as the the strength guy. Common thing we see with the college guy that comes back is their strength programs work. Right now, velocity-based training, improving power development, improving the rate of force development, that is the cool thing. And there are athletes that do need to improve those things, don't get me wrong. But there are an overwhelming majority of athletes, especially at the college level, that come in here, that they are basically like Ferraris with no control. They can give us a ton of power. They can put their foot on the gas pedal, but the car itself has no control, and that leads to the inconsistencies, whether it's not throwing strikes, whether it's not barreling the ball. And so very, very common is like, hey, guys are like, come in here, I want to get stronger, and I want to deadlift 600 pounds, and I want to do this, and I want to do that. And it's like, you don't need those things. And I've had this conversation now like multiple times with a couple of college guys we have here where it doesn't, they get frustrated with me. Why am I doing these mobility exercises? Why am I doing these exercises that I can't put 400 pounds on the bar? And it's like, it's because you don't need the one thing that most people try and give you, which is more force. They try and give you
more restriction.
What?
More restriction in a sense.
Well, yeah, it's more. These guys need more time to express force, and it's really, really common that we see across the board. So.
And so just to kind of touch on that other athlete that we talked about, so obviously if you had played a bunch of games like we had talked about, please think on the side of individual development and make sure that you get that side checked. But for like you talked about, the freshman that doesn't get a lot of innings, and especially since I was in that system, college summer ball can kind of be a scary thing because coaches, at some point, I think it's a myth, but coaches send you where you want to go, when in reality you can come up with a lot of ideas for yourself and you can kind of give these coaches ideas of where you want to go. Obviously, and Dan said, if you get an opportunity like the Cape Cod, please take it because that's a 1 in a million chance. But how do you give these kids the knowledge to either, one, it's just do your own research, or how do they kind of navigate that college system?
It's tough, and I think this is where a lot of kids get caught, is because they don't want to say no to the person that controls their life. Basically, college coaches control the kids' lives. And I think there's a modern way to kind of think about these things and prioritize development. And I think today's player is a lot better at advocating for themselves than yesterday's player. It's not just yes coach all the time. It's like, no, that's not what's best for me. On our end, a lot of it's been building really strong relationships and educating some of the local college coaches. Like I said a little earlier, some of the prominent Division I's in the Bay Area have said, like, hey, like, we're not sending our best guys out, they're going to you, and so that's what we want, like we want to kind of buck that system a little bit, because here's the reality of the situation. If you're competing for playing time, if you're competing for draft spots, and some guys are getting a certain kind of training and you're not, and you're toiling away in Kansas in some random town, not able to work out, playing your 16th day in the row and you've lost 10 pounds, that ain't it. No. That's not how to make it. So I think it's just education, and slowly but surely the tide's turning, because it is a little bit of a broken system. For sure. And it's a combination of athletes advocating for themselves and coaches getting some knowledge on how to handle those athletes.
Absolutely. And so just kind of moving on, but players need to take control of their process like we just talked about and prioritize their individual development during the only time of the year, which is the summer, where they can get intensive individualized training. A lot of people don't understand the summer is not the time to just kind of do what you want. This is the time to where you can change your life in a sense. And it's a couple months to where if you put your time and energy and money in the right place, you can really change your life for the better. But talk about how, like, prioritizing that, right? How you've seen even athletes in this building testify to that, how they've been able to see that kind of mindset flip of, oh, this does actually do something for me.
I think one of the common things that we see for the college guy is I feel better. I feel less. Not strain's not the right term, but it's just everything becomes easier.
Would you say like anxiety?
Yeah, no, not that. More just
physical.
Yeah, like from a physical standpoint,
Yeah.
like my swing feels easier. The outcomes I'm getting are easier. I don't have to try as hard.
Yeah.
We take care of a lot of the tic-tacky type of injuries that do pop up. That sore muscle that never goes away. That one spot that always gets me after my outings. We can take care and clean up of those things. And I think the most important piece. Work ethic at the collegiate level is not at an all-time low. It is at an all-time high. The resources and education that those players get is also at an all-time high. What's at an all-time low is accountability to those systems to make sure they work. Meaning you can Google a strength program, you can Google a bat speed program, you can Google a 8-week free velocity program over the summer. You can do all those things. You can watch pitch design videos from really, really intelligent people out there. But being held accountable to doing the work that you need to do versus what you want to do, I think a lot of college guys fall into that trap. They love to go crush the weight room.
Yeah.
Or a lot of college guys love to get ABs in the cages. Usually what you like to do is not going to get you closer to your goals. What you need to do is part of that equation. And KPI, we pride ourselves on holding athletes accountable, using the technology to make sure that, hey, these things are actually improving your ability to play at the next level.
And on that point, there's a false assumption that all Division I's have the tech we have. Yeah. Like, it's actually extremely rare for them, and the vast majority of the schools that do have tech somewhat along the lines of what we have, they don't really use it. I can't even tell you how many college baseball players come in here and jump on our force plates, and then we show them what they mean, and we go, have you jumped on force plates before? They're like, yeah. Do you know what any of that means? They're like, no, we just jumped once at the beginning of the year, and then that was it.
They do vertical. That's
yeah, so we can truly leverage what we have to give them a better experience, and our stance on the issue is that the more knowledge, the better. Like, we want to give them all the knowledge and give them all the information so they can really understand it and make it a weapon for their development.
Well, and to Dan's point as well, like, make sure there's validation behind the knowledge, right? We validate our knowledge with the data that we provide. To your point, like, you can also look up any program you want for 8 weeks, but if you join something that just is nonsense, it doesn't help you at all.
Yeah. I think that the other piece too is, like, a lot of guys are given stuff to do over the summer. And my go-to talking point is, like, if everybody on your team has the exact same plan and you're all fighting for playing time, is that where you want to put your money at? Now, it could be the greatest play in the world.
True.
But if everybody gets the exact same results and gets the exact same gains and you're looking for an edge, like, that's not going to be in your best interest. Even if it's written by the greatest coach in the world, whether it's skill or strength, you have to find a way to maximize your personal potential.
Or if you're a freshman that threw 30 innings and you want to be a starter the next year, well, what's the reason why you weren't a starter? Is going out and throwing another 30 innings in the summer going to change that equation?
Yeah, not knowing
probably
why.
Not. We probably need to get bigger, stronger, and develop tools.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
And I think that's important to know right there is, when you as college athletes are having these exit interviews with your coach, these exit meetings, is you need to buckle down and figure out questions that you need answered. It comes down to obviously building a relationship and a good rapport with your head coach because, he makes the lineup. You gotta listen to that. But it comes down to just a support system, on if he truly is thinking about your best decision for you as an athlete, and you got to get those questions answered in those exit meetings and figure out what you really need to do for that summer. If, he sees you as a guy that can come in and win the starting job as a sophomore at shortstop, then you know what, you do need to go get some more playing time in a game intensity environment. If you're a guy that, is looking to get drafted, you probably got to go play in a good wood bat league, so they can see you and your skill with wood bat. And then if you're a guy on like the border, for the experience and, and you're faking that you do want to go to the show, then you need to get yourself in the individualized room, and focus on what that need really is for yourself as an athlete.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with the guy who wants to go play more summer ball.
No.
Like if it's just about the experience, and you know that I got 4 years of college to play ball, and there's nothing beyond this. I'm going to be a lawyer when this is all said and done. Like, more power to you. Play as much baseball as you can.
And
we
with
would all go
that,
back and play if we could.
obviously we've all played summer ball, and I think another big benefit of that is, the network. That's where you meet people. Relationship. You got kids from all different schools, and it is a cool experience. But at the same time, if the show is really what you want in your play, in your career, you got to go all in on you as an individual, whether that's training that summer at a place like KPI or going to get more games at the Cape Cod or Northwoods, wherever. You got to make that decision for you.
Yeah.
And on the flip side of all that, the kids that don't want to go play, but they don't know how to talk to the coach. I can't think of an instance where I've kind of counseled a kid like, hey, kind of present it like this. I want to go get bigger guitar. I want to go train here, whatever it is. Where the college coach went, no, you're an idiot. Like, you're still going out to play. Like almost 100% of the time, they've been cool about it.
Yeah.
So like if you advocate for yourself and you give valid reasons on why you want to go do this instead of this, like these guys are real people. They get it. They want you to be healthy. They want you to get better too.
They also want you to come back better. They don't want you to just go play games for no reason. Like they want you to come back and have a growing knowledge of how you're supposed to be better on the field.
I think we had a kid in here the other day, and he's a big time guy, and that was one of the things that came up. We talked like, they're going to send us to this place to play summer ball. We don't want to go. I'm like, well, here's what you say. And I'm going to do this, and this. Okay, cool. Like, it'll be fun.
Yeah.
I think the mistake that I would have made at that age is you don't know what you're talking about. KPI said that I'm supposed to go train and not play. It's like you are going to lose that argument instantly. So you do have to have a prepared talking points in a prepared speech, essentially, like a sales pitch of like, hey, this is what I want to do. I want you to be on board with this. You got to play the game, right? They write the lineup, so they have to be on board. And I think the other part you need to play into is like figure out tactics and tools to make it almost their idea, right? If you don't know how to do this, like talk to your girlfriend or go talk to a girl. Women are extremely good at making their ideas our ideas, so they're like
Dale
the master.
Carnegie book.
Exactly.
Great
Master that skill set, and I think that will help that conversation go the way you want it to go. Versus, again, we've had multiple times where just the first thing you say sets the stage of like, nope, I'm not listening to you. You're a player. I'm a coach. You have to listen to what I'm saying. I'm not going to be the other way around.
It comes back to the ego thing, right? You don't want to test their ego because then they'll just shut it down.
Yeah.
Because they're like at the end of the day, like you said, they make the lineup. They're the boss.
They're in control.
But with that said, with playing time at the collegiate level becoming more and more competitive, obviously the transfer portal has made it immensely different. With large rosters and the transfer portal, players need to make sure that they are in position themselves to give them the best chance at cracking the lineup and getting to pro ball. And with that said, like it just comes back to you to take control of your own playing and how you are able to go about development. And like we've talked about this whole podcast, there is definitely different ways to go about it. And if individual training at the end of the day is for you, please come to KPI. We do have systems in place to make that these things are going to happen. And yet just, I would say, be knowledgeable about what you do your research, and make sure summer ball is the right place for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think the vast majority, especially Division I college players, want to be professional players.
Yes.
Like that's what they want. And then you have to ask yourself at that point in time, what's the difference between where I'm at right now and becoming a pro? Okay, go train that gap. Like that's the only way to do it is to train that gap. So if it's truly your passion to become a professional player, you have to go out that dream. You can't get through this, play 56 games in the spring, 20 in the fall, and then another 50 in the summer, and then be like, I was 5 miles per hour off from reaching my goal because I never actually worked on what I needed to do to get to that level. Or, we all know the effects of bat speed on hitting. I needed more bat speed to kind of crack that nut and become a pro. And if you don't think pros are paying attention to that stuff, you're silly. They come in here all the time and they're asking for the numbers and they measure it. So.
And to your point, they train that specific thing all the time. They, like you said, they close that gap.
So that's I would say that's our recommendation is just if you want to go big, you better go big in your summer.
For sure.
Yeah, my thing is own your career, right? Is this comes down to your decision. And I believe in a perfect world, if you do your research thoroughly, you need to find yourself maybe a spot. If you want to play college summer ball, maybe you look at where their summer ball is, like facilities, near training facilities, to where you can do best of both worlds. Guys here on the West Coast that are nearby us. I encourage you to, maybe play for a team near us, and then do your individualized development here. So, there's a lot of different ways you can go. It's your career. You guys make the decision. But in a perfect world, I think, maybe you can get a little bit of both on the action, finding a facility, and playing.
Absolutely. All right, thank you guys very much for listening to Talking Points with KPI, episode number 64. Once again, the topic was about college summer ball and individual development. Please go follow us on all of our socials at Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. And then please go to subscribe to the YouTube channel at Kinetic Performance Institute. And then just one thing before we leave, thank you guys all for the support. It's been awesome, and the marketing has been very good because of you guys and all of your attention to details and all that stuff. And then please be aware, on the stories, we are going to be dropping a link, a Gipper link specifically if you see it. It allows us as the KPI crew to make sure that your kid is getting the recognition they deserve. So please click that link, share your video of your kid pitching or hitting, and we will put them on our story. And we were going to be doing this for the remainder of the spring and summer. So thank you guys very much for listening. See you guys next time.